So, let me see. Let me go through my answers, see if I answered most of the questions, most of the major points. Tell me, you also had a question about my mentioning when we were here about the Arlene Sister Center.
Oh, yeah, somebody mentioned that a long time ago.
That has not, I mean, there's that there, the stuff around there, that has not seriously been looked into. What we had been looking into seriously was Pioneer Courthouse Square, which is rentable space. However, there is cost associated with that. We cannot have a region with security, we need to have private security in that, and private security would be the big expense of doing that. I mean, there's advantages to it. I mean, we can have food vendors in, we can do tons of stuff that we can't do in a hotel at Pioneer Courthouse Square, and if we had not had to have capped our attendance where we did this year, we might have had that kind of play money for 2010. Actually, that was at least my long-term plan. That's something I've been hoping to do. But since we did have to shut down registration a lot sooner than we thought we were going to have to, that cuts into the problem we're making. That means we've got less play money for next year, and less money to be buying new equipment and looking at stuff like that. So that was kind of the overflow space that we've been planning, we've been looking at. It is on one hand kind of a problem we did cap when we did, because kind of hitting that 5,000 attendance number, that's when Funimation, Bandai, and these other companies start looking at you going, oh hi, you're big enough now. We're going to start, doing deals with you. Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't hit that number, which is, not hitting, the 6,000 that we've been anticipating, that cost us in a way. Not hitting the 5,000 actually hurt us more than is obviously aware.
So you're saying that not hitting the 5,000 is much worse than if you could just not hit the 6,000 and just been building? Because of that.
Well, we're not industry con. There's certain, we actually have, we do get some industry money. We do get some, a little bit. We do get some promotional stuff. Being that we're not industry con, we would not make the same type of deals that Sakuracon would make. Things where our mains are never going to have logos on them. We've had offers, actually, when I was vice chair.
Sponsored video room.
Yeah.
Where they only show stuff from one.
Yeah, things like sponsored video rooms, the Funimation viewing room, things like putting. We've actually had two offers to have to put logos on our maids in exchange for money. Just like, no, I don't want logos on our maid squad. I really don't. That really bothered me. I turned down 2 offers of money that year because I'm just like, no, I can't. I couldn't do it.
Is there a point where it reaches a certain size where it would, or are you just saying before when it's still small, if that's not the case?
It's the type of convention that we are. We're not a convention that's focused on industry. If we start becoming focused on industry, then we would be having the same type of programming, the same type of things Sakuracon has. And we love Sakuracon. They help us a lot.
That's why you Sakuracon.
But, it doesn't make sense to have 2 industry cons in the Pacific Northwest. It makes sense for the 2 largest anime conventions in the Pacific Northwest to be trying to be the same size, both be trying to convention center, and to also be trying to have the same sort of programming. Because once you become industry, that means, we have to give over a lot of our programming space to the industry panels. We like having certain industry panels. We like having Dark Horse. We like our relationship with them and certain other companies. But
It's more like local.
yeah, it's local and it's selective, whereas if we were industry,
Makes sense.
we'd basically be having, it'd be anyone, we'd have no control over it, and some of the panels would basically be some infomercials, which I like. I go to industry cons. I love them. I really do enjoy going and seeing how they run and going to industry panels. I enjoy that, but that's not the focus that we've ever had, and that would be a really big stylistic change for this convention. Okay. So another kind of point also is, and this is something that doesn't, this is in years past I've displayed this a lot too. If we are at the DoubleTree, we cannot actually schedule events.
Do you need some water?
Or I have a cough drop here. Schedule events.
Yeah, I need some water.
Okay, thank you.
I'll get you one.
Or do anything involving that park across the street. If we even make it look like we are, like, if it looks at all like we're doing anything officially in Holiday Park, we could actually be in some very serious legal trouble. And actually, if it could have been proved that we did have an association with them in that year, we would have been in legal trouble.
At which park?
Holiday Park, the one that's across the street from the Lloyd Center DoubleTree.
Ah,
And is that space not rentable?
That space is not directly rentable. There have been events there. The events there must be free of admission and must be educational.
Okay.
but it is,
You can go through a
So
city
it's
process.
like non-profit then to the city of Portland?
It's not just nonprofit, because we are nonprofit. There's a difference between just simply nonprofit and educational. People who work for Kumoricon are incredibly aware of this. Because they're tax status.
it is still an open
Oh.
place for the public to go.
Oh, I've got cough drops. Thank you. People can go there, but we can't officially encourage it. We can't say, hey, this photo shoots at this time, this photo shoots at this time. Like, that has to be
In
kind
other
of.
words, we can't officially support anything that's affiliated with us directly,
Yeah, and importantly, we can't have our staff patrolling it.
which would.
Know your Jimbo out there.
Yeah, and if it even looks like we are trying to patrol, keep an eye on it, again, that could actually, due to some competition that place that year, we would have been involved in a lawsuit that year.
That,
If it could have been proven that we were even trying too hard to keep an eye on the park. So that's also another big thing, is that here, we actually do have, we could have gotten to a certain size and we could have done rentals, we could have actually had the secured outdoor area. That would have rained all over. We would have had a secured outdoor area that we could have put official security in and done things with. Whereas we cannot do that with the park that's adjacent to, well, either of the other, this is the same rules. I don't know about the rules about renting the park across the street from the Vancouver Hilton, but when you're dealing with renting city parks, you need personal security because they need to have additional certification. Because, you know, we did actually have, some of you might be aware, we did have someone who was an actual security, professional security person, who was our operations director, Joe Shelton. He did not have endorsements. He did not have enough endorsements and training to be allowed to be someone who could patrol the park.
he was, he can.
And if he can't, yeah, it's one of those things, like, we have had professional security who have been staff for us. None of them have had enough qualifications. The level of qualifications you need to do that is higher than anyone who's ever worked with us.
So what was that outdoor area, did you say that we could have?
Pioneer Court Square.
Oh, right.
The entire thing can be rented, or parts of it can be rented.
How large is that?
Well, it's a city block, but it also breaks down into 4 sections. Like, you know, if we did want to, we did get some money to play with it, we could rent like a quarter of it. If you look online, there's a map. You can rent the entire thing, or you can rent like this half of it down here, and then move the quarter up. That's kind of, those 2 quarters of your strips are separately rentable. And so, I mean, you could rent a space about the size of this room out of it. I mean, you don't have to rent the entire thing.
You could use that space very well.
We could, and you know, I mean, there's ways, but I mean, obviously, it tends in case of rain, and there'd be other, you know, fun considerations involved in trying to get that to work. It would not be cheap. We'd probably be looking at, I mean, that's probably something that runs at $10,000 per day. That's one of the few times. That's another thing I actually wanted to touch on. This is one of the few times you're going to hear me mention cost.